Hey folks, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to the top 100 games of Board Game Geek and my opinions on each of them. Today we're going to be finishing the first half, which is 61 through 50, or 60 through 51, I'm sorry. And so let's just jump right into this. First of all, we have Russian Railroads. Now, Russian Railroads is a fantastic Euro-style game, which isn't really about trains as much as you might think. It shows a nice big picture of trains here on the cover, but it is a worker placement game. There are a lot of different pieces in the game. Let me show you this picture here. This shows a lot of the different components. So you're basically going to be doing a worker placement game where there's lots of different areas on this main board that you're going to be placing your workers so that you can build the trains up on your train board. So let me show you an example of a train board here. This is the end of one game. You'll see you have 3 train lines here, and on each train track you're moving your black, your gray, and your brown train. And the farther over you move them, the more points you're going to get. So each round of the game, you're trying to move them over farther, and depending on which train you're moving, which one at the top, you're going to get more points. There's also a city track here at the bottom where you're moving a piece along this to score points. It's all about getting points through various ways. Do this, get points. Do this, get a lot of points now. Do this, get points every turn. Special ability tiles you can get, but it's all kind of building this cool engine that gets better and better and better as time goes by. Doesn't have a lot to do with trains, and is fairly soulless for this kind of game, but I really do enjoy Russian Railroads. Next is Mombasa. Mombasa is another one that I'm kind of surprised to see on here. It has 6,000 ratings, so that's less than normal. Mombasa is a game about colonization of Africa. So here's part of the board. You can see there's cards on the board, and you're going to be using these cards. There's these 4 trading groups that you have, and you're trying to build these groups out there, but they're not yours. These groups are placed around the outside of the board, and you're trying to control and have shares of these different groups. You're also trying to move along other tracks. Again, this has a lot of similarities to Russian Railroads, where you have 2 different tracks in front of you. You'll notice this track here. One track you're moving books along, and I guess you're writing down your exploits or keeping a journal. I'm really not sure what the theme is. And you're getting points on that track. And there's another track here that you're moving along where you're finding diamonds. And again, it's all about points. But what makes this game unique is if you look here at the top of this picture, you'll notice that this board here is able to be removed from the Cairo, the orange color. You will be able to stick different boards there, and so every game's going to be slightly different as you try to figure it out. It's like an advanced stock market style game. I like it. I think it's a very good game. I'm just surprised that it's number 59. Number 58 is Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, The Thames Murders and Other Cases. Now, if you've never played one of these games, it is probably unlike anything else you've ever played. You're going to get several things when you get this game. You're going to get this map here. So this map is going to show you London. It shows you all these different buildings here. Each of these buildings has a different number on them. You're also going to get a book or books with cases, depending on which Sherlock Holmes thing you get. This is going to show you each of the specific cases you're doing. And so it will give you some information. And then you will go to a building on the map, and you'll say, oh, I'm going to go to this building here, 63, and then you look in your case, is that building there? If so, you read a paragraph of information, and you're writing stuff down, and occasionally you run into things. So it's almost like a choose your own adventure, but the game itself isn't really so much of it as a choose your own adventure. It's just trying to find the right things. Look, they have a directory where it might tell you where different people live. You're just trying to go to the right places and get the clues, because at a certain point your time runs out, and you have to use all these clues and say this. They're going to ask you questions. Who did this? Who murdered them? How'd they murder them? Or whatever the questions are. And you need to get as many of those questions right as a group on your own. A lot of fun, but it's not going to appeal to everyone. Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. Battlestar Galactica, the board game. This is number 57. This is not the power of a licensed product. Battlestar Galactica is a game in which you are aboard the Battlestar Galactica, and this is definitely based on the TV show. And on this ship here, and you can see the ship right here, you are trying to just survive. You need to make a certain number of jumps over the course of the game, and you're finding Earth or whatever their planet they're looking for, Caprica. And or New Caprica, I'm sorry, and each person is moving around trying to get things done. Crises are going to pop up, and you have to deal with those crises. You're going to be different characters in the game. Many of your favorite characters that you like from the show are either added in the game or they came in different expansions. However, at least one player, and probably more, are Cylons, and those players are secretly causing bad things to happen. And unlike the TV show, I mean, in the TV show, you know who each player is as a Cylon. Here you're, well, I guess in this picture you kind of know who the Cylon is because they're wearing a Cylon helmet. Do they make them wear that? But anyway, you're trying to figure out who the players are who are messing everything up. So it's a trader game. It's not so much a trader game, it's more of a team game because you're never quite sure who's doing it. So it's a co-op game, but there's definitely at least one, probably two people trying to mess everything up. Really brings the theme to life if you like Battlestar Galactica. If you don't, you will probably still enjoy it because the game is just that good. Number 56 here is Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures. Now, Star Wars X-Wing Miniatures is, well, this is the second, I suppose, in a series of games that where the first one basically was the Wings of War. Well, actually, I think it was Wings of War. It was a World War I flying game. They then made a upgrade to that, and then Wings of Glory came out. But they took this game, which was flying airplanes around, and changed it with X-Wing. And instead of putting cards down like Wings of War, you have these flight paths here, and the faster you're going, the longer flight path you'll leave. And then you had actual plastic little X-Wings and TIE Fighters and Y-Wings and the Millennium Falcon, and you fly them around on your table or your colored space map like this one shows. And each turn you're going to secretly decide which flight path you're going to take. Everyone reveals them. Some people move before others, and you're all shooting and how you move on the board. There's a lot of games out there that are very complex when it comes to spaceship simulations or airplane simulations. X-Wing really takes that complexity and brings it down into a much more palatable, easy to understand. This game is done phenomenal. I think it's the best seller that Fantasy Flight has ever had, but it's also a really good game and lets you play in a Star Wars setting. So that is X-Wing. Number 55 is Clank, a deck building adventure. Now this one I'm pretty pleased about. I didn't expect this one to be so high on the list, but Clank is a great deck building game. It came out in 2016, which is less than 2 years ago at this point in time. And in it you have a board. Let me show you the board here. Here's a shot of the board. And in this board, you're going to go through a dungeon. So you can see here, there's this dungeon that you're going to be moving through and going down these different paths. And you're doing so by building a deck of cards. It's a deck building game. And you want to be the first person to get down into this dungeon, get your gems, and get out. And you want to have the biggest value. Once you get out, the whole thing starts slowly collapsing around everyone else. But the game is called Clank because you have these Clank cubes. These are cubes that you throw into a bag. See in this picture here, there's a bunch of yellow cubes. These cubes you're going to throw into a bag, and every once in a while the dragon's going to stir. You have to pull cubes from the bag, and you take damage. If you have 10 damage, you will lose the game. You probably don't want to lose, so you want to get in and out before that happens, and you also want to make as little noise. So you can see here in this picture, here's some of the cards that are in the game, the different cards you play. It takes its cue off Dominion, and I find it fascinating that Clank is actually ranked higher than Dominion at this point. That's a tough call. I like Clank a lot. I like Dominion a lot. I'd be hesitant to call Clank better than Dominion, but it certainly has a wider appeal. But these, some of them let you move, like this Dwarven Peddler here. Some of them give you kind of a money that you can spend to buy more cards. Some give you attack. You can attack monsters you find. There's a sequel to this, Clank in Space, and it'll be curious to see where that ends up as time goes by. But very popular game. Number 54 is Dead of Winter, A Crossroads Tale. Most people do not use the second half of the name, Dead of Winter, A Crossroads Tale, even though they promised us other Crossroads games. This came out in 2014. 4 years later, we're still waiting for another Crossroads game. But here, in this game, which is basically Walking Dead, the board game, and here you can see there's different people and there's zombies attacking in different spots. And your job, it's very similar to Battlestar Galactica, is to go out and get tasks done and just survive. There's different missions and you have to survive. Now the game is going to revolve around these story cards. Here's a close-up of one of these cards. And this card here is Addiction. This will happen, it says here, if the player plays a medicine card to heal a survivor. So you will draw one of these cards when it's not your turn. You will watch the player whose turn it is. If they do the action on the card, you play it, and it will then give you options, and people have to deal with it. So sometimes these cards come into effect, sometimes they don't. Players have their own secret goal that they need to get to win the game. They're all trying to win together, but sometimes these secret goals may go somewhat counter to what people are doing, and there's a possibility there's a full-blown traitor in the game. May not happen, but there might be, and your secret goal may make you look like you're a traitor. It all comes together in a very well-done, put-together game, Dead of Winter, a Crossroads game. They came out with sequels and expansions. The game is really doing well. Now let's take a look at Fields of Arle. This is number 53. Uwe Rosenberg has a lot of games in the top 100. Fields of Arle is one of his lesser known ones, I guess. And I think part of that is because it is essentially a two-player game. So when we look at this board here and these pieces, you're like, what? And again, his games tend to look very similar to each other. So this one at first blush does look a lot like Agricola, but it's this middle board that's different as you're placing workers on each side and you're moving them down and making them better as you use them, and then you're building up you have peat bogs and farms and animals, very similar to Agricola in that way, but the game doesn't feel like Agricola at all. They are releasing early this year, I think, a 3-player expansion for it, so a third player can get in. I have no idea how that's going to work. I will say that me and Melody, I think me and Melody, she's the only person I played this with, we both really liked this game. The biggest problem that we found with this game was that it gave us a really great 2-player experience, but so does Caverna, Agricola, Le Havre, Feast for Odin, and we're not sure that this game offers a lot of stuff that those games don't have. But it still is a very quality game from Uwe Rosenberg, and it's ranked very highly. Number 15 is Dominion Intrigue. Now this is one of those times where I kind of wish this game wasn't separate on the ranking scale from Dominion, because really Dominion Intrigue is just another expansion for Dominion. It's essentially the same game. Yeah, there's some different cards in it. Some of the cards are mean. There's a few cards in Dominion Intrigue that I will never use. Let's look at here. Here's a picture of 8 of the cards. Let's take a look here. Mining Village, that's a great card. Shantytown, that's a good card. Saboteur is one of those cards that I won't play with. Coppersmith is an interesting one. It tried to make coppers better. The Bridge gives you an extra buy and makes all cards cheaper, which is kind of an intriguing way. Baron, Courtyard, Conspirator. So there's some good cards in the set, and there's some cards like, I use Bridge a lot if I can help it. I think it's a really fun card. And Saboteur, no. I don't like trashing a card and taking a card that costs 2 less than that. That's a card no one likes when I play the game. But all this being said and done, it does add a lot of cool cards to the game. I'm just not sure it should be its own entry. On the other hand, Roll for the Galaxy, which is number 51, and finishes up the top 50 of this list. This one is an excellent look at this. I really like Roll for the Galaxy. I think that it's a sequel to Race for the Galaxy for sure, but it has a very different feel to it, mostly because it comes with dice. Now, I like these dice. The dice are really fun. But the whole point of Roll for the Galaxy isn't just that there's some cool custom dice in it. The point of Roll for the Galaxy is that you can take these dice and you're going to be putting them behind your shield and taking different actions with them. And the actions might not be available, and you're doing those actions to get these different cost tiles. So here's some tiles out here. These are the 6 cost development tiles. These are expensive tiles, and you're going to take each turn these dice, you're going to take them in your cup, you're going to roll them secretly, you're going to place them on a board that looks like this, and the different colored dice have different sides and will allow you to put them in different actions. That action has to actually occur for it to work, and you'll be taking these tiles and building tiles, and it has a lot of similarities to Race for the Galaxy, but has a very different feel, and I really like it. And I think I like Race for the Galaxy better than Roll for the Galaxy, but I think Roll for the Galaxy handles larger counts of players better. Also, it's just a very pretty game with a lot of fun rolling of the dice. All right, folks, well, that is 51 through 60. What do you think of these games? I think, for the most part, they're pretty fantastic. I'll see you guys next time. We've been taking a look at the best games of all time, according to Board Game Geek on January 2018. I'm Tom Vasel, and this is The Dice Tower.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at coolstuffinc.com.